I'm Jordan from Reuben.
I'm Jesse from Masada.
I'm Bruce from Masada.
I'm Mikey from Masada.
Quiet, please.
We were Joseph 2005.
We were Reuben 2006.
We were Masada 2007.
This is my 14th summer at camp. 11 of those years I spent as a camper, a few in Najwa, actually more than a few in Najwa, a few in Cedar Lake, a few in Tack. As a camper, I wasn't very active. I hated color war. I hated listening to my counselors. Unfortunately, as many of you know, my birthday falls in the summer, and my mom likes to celebrate it quite a bit. All my friends loved it. They used to love getting the whole cookie cake and all the stuff that I used to get, all the perks for being a staff rat, but I hated it. But you know, after all these years, after making all these friends, after coming all these summers, and going to Israel, and being in TAC and everything, I realized, you know, I love it here. It's the activities, it's the dome, it's the friends I made, it's the memories we share, it's everything. You know, over the years, my appreciation for camp, it's grown to the point that 14 years later, literally 14 years, I'm still here.
Guys, let's try to maintain silence throughout the...
I first came to camp as a small, scared, share camper in 2000. I was absolutely petrified that nobody was going to be nice, and that I would have to endure 8 weeks with no friends. Fortunately, my nightmare did not come true. One of the earliest memories of mine at camp was meeting Bruce on the first day of that summer 12 years ago. We were in the same bunk and quickly became friends, bonding over our shared favorite counselor, Anthony from New Zealand. Since that first summer in 2000, Bruce and I were in the same bunk through every year of our camp careers, up until 3 years ago when we became counselors. Over the summers, people came and left of the bunk, but there were a few who I'm still friends with today, including all of those that are standing up here with me now. 13 years since my first summer on Share, I'm so glad that I'm still here at camp.
Just kidding.
When I first came to camp on Share, forced by my mom, who had just taken a position in the Cedar Lake office, I wanted nothing but to just go home. I soon met Ord and Bruce in my bunk and quickly had my first two friends at camp. I continued to be in a bunk with them until we got to Reuben, when I moved into a bunk with Jordan, Jesse, and Mikey. While we all might not have been the best of friends back then, Jesse, I still got to know all of them very well. Going on the first TAC Israel trip, I then became closer again with Bruce and Oren. Obviously, my mom did not let me go home that Share year, and happily, I'm still here.
Joseph Klein.
My family's tenure at camp began farther back than my first summer in Dan Division. My mom attended this camp, my aunt attended this camp, my cousin came to this camp, and lastly, 2 of my sisters came here as well. This is my 8th summer. Now it's gone. This is my 8th summer at camp, and being the 6th person in my family to be a camper here, I cannot tell you how old I feel standing up here. One of my sisters was a senior counselor for some of the incoming pre-cons this summer. This dome we are standing in did not exist during my first 2 summers in Joseph and Reuben. Sophie Weiner was an assistant director of camp during my years as a camper. Things have definitely changed around here since we were in camp, but one thing that we know will definitely not change is the friendships you make and the unexpected moments you will have that will last longer than you could ever imagine. That is why I'm still here.
When I started my camp career in Levi Division of Najwa, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. My best friend at the time, Sam, had started the summer before me in Dan Division and told me all about his amazing friends and experiences. When I got to camp, I immediately was taken aback by what camp was and the amazing time I was having. To be honest, before Cedar Lake and Sac, I had a very different main group of friends than the one standing up here with me right now. That's the amazing thing about camp. You get to branch out and befriend those you might think of as different than yourself in many ways. But a short 8 years later, I have come to grow unique friendships with all these people, whether chanting M6F with Mikey, JK, and Shepton during Reuben, or having the absolute pleasure of being able to work with Bruce in Bunk 55. I've experienced things and made friends that will last longer than solely one summer, which in effect has made me come back and still be here.
Being that this is my 17th summer at camp, I always get asked questions like, why do you still come here? And don't you get bored of this over and over again? My first response is usually, nah, I'll be here for a while. Yet, I look back over the years, I always get the chills when I think about how far each of us have come. From Asher 14 with Bruce, JK, and Oren, to Reuben 6 with Jesse, Shefkin, and JK, to having all 5 of these fantastic men and stand beside me through the years, up to now as returning staff members. Although each of us is different in our own way, we each add a special spice to the melting pot that is our camp life. I've begun to appreciate my camper years because these are the bonds that will never break with the friends that will never forget, which is why I'm still here.
Each one of us has our own camp story. We all came to Milford at different times and for different reasons, with different expectations. Some came willingly, while others were just forced by their nudgy parents.
Over the years, the strands of our 6 different stories have intertwined. Now, all these summers later, we stand up here older, more mature, and smarter.
As we look across this dome, we see a lot of ourselves and a lot of you. Intelligent, athletic, outgoing, funny, talented, and caring.
While we may not have been best buds as campers, over a decade later, we're all standing up here, not only as counselors, but as best friends.
Camp is a crazy, amazing, beautiful, and unpredictable place. You only have a limited time here, so appreciate it while it lasts. Don't make judgments too quickly. You have no idea how the people that you meet here, whether friendly or not as friendly, will affect your life in the future.
So the main point that we're trying to make is, as the first session ends, keep in touch with all the new friends. You wouldn't believe where life might take you. You may just end up here, in front of 700 kids, at this camp, 5 or even 10 years from now, like the 6 of us are doing for you this very Friday night. Shabbat Shalom.